Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. So, family, this is just a friendly reminder. The sale is still on, 40% off at all three of my stores, Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok Shop. Now, the prices should automatically deduct because it's already slashed on Etsy. So you want to use 40 weekend at checkout if you don't see that the prices are already deducted. All right. So the sale will end at May 26th at 11:59 p.m. Okay, we're going to talk about this Dr. Travis Morrell out of Colorado. Now, you know how there is a website called FindABlackDoctor.com. Well, he's suing because he was trying to put his information out there. He's not even a Black doctor. Of course, always got to mess with us. Just can't go on about their business and leave us the hell alone. Just can't do it. So he tries to put his stuff out there. He claims it's not fair, it's discriminatory. And see, Dr. Travis Morrell, all the years of schooling you got, and you still don't even have a fraction of common sense. What you really need to do, what your people always like to avoid, is the root cause to why there is a FindABlackDoctor.com in the first place. It would not exist if our people were being treated fairly in the medical industry. We're not being treated fairly at all. Your white doctors are the cause of why there is a FindABlackDoctor.com. Because when we come to y'all, you don't want to believe us. You don't believe we're in pain when we're telling you we're in pain. When our sisters go in there pregnant and in labor, you send them out of there. If we were getting treated like decent human beings, nobody would need to go to find a doctor, a blackdoctor.com, because everybody would be treating us fairly. And many of us probably wouldn't even care if the doctor was white as long as we were getting decent treatment. But y'all are hell bent on just not giving us the care we deserve. And now, when we don't want to see you anymore and we are seeking out Black doctors, now you want to get mad. But instead of getting angry over that, why don't you fix the problem? But see, we know you're not about that. You're not about to fix anything because that is not you. That is not in your DNA. So he's going to moan and groan over discrimination and not look at the reason why we have to look for Black doctors, because we get better care and they understand us better because they are like us. And, over the years, I thought about it. I don't want to see no doctor that believes my people don't feel pain. If you are a white doctor and you believe that shit, I definitely don't want you to be my doctor. If that's how you think, no, you will never be picked as my doctor. And do you know, to this very day, they still teach that shit in medical schools? They still teach that shit about we don't feel pain in these medical schools, even to this very day. So if you are the kind of doctor that's walking around believing that, you will never have me as your patient. I don't want to be your damn patient. So, y'all, let's get into this story because this is so pathetic. This is just another white person trying to milk money off of a site that was intended to service Black people that were looking for doctors that are just like them. Now, why are you over there in the first place? You're not a Black doctor. It's almost like anything we got to ourselves, they got to always try to find a way to take that away too. It is just not enough that we haven't been treated fair in this society. Now, any little teeny slither of what we have, you trying to grab that up too. So, y'all, if you want Black doctors, you can still seek them out. You may have to just do the legwork yourself, but you should be able to find Black doctors in your area. All right. I found a Black doctor, and even when my parents were alive, they went to a doctor out here. His name was Conway, and he was a Black doctor. And I'm like, yeah, you get better care. You just do. And they sure don't squabble with you over your pain. When you tell a Black doctor you're in pain, they just take note and then try the best medical approach to remedying your pain. They don't sit there and have no full out blown argument with you over your pain like a white doctor, and they don't understand us anyway. Why do you even want us as your patients? Look, do you know when they swab your skin with alcohol and they'll look at the swab and say, "Oh, it's dirty." It's not dirty. It's not dirty. What that is when you swab your skin with alcohol, it actually lifts up your melanin. It removes your melanin from your skin. What you're looking at is not dirt. That's melanin. Do you know these old stupid ass white doctors don't know that? They'll swab you talking about, "You didn't take a bath, you didn't bathe, you're dirty." You idiot, that's melanin. All them years of medical school and you're still dumb. So, let me share my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Hey, y'all, this is George Cook at African American Reports. There's a website called FindABlackDoctor.com, and it obviously exists to help Black people find Black doctors and get the health care that they both need and want. And we know why it's needed. We have all heard the horror stories of Black women going to the doctor or hospital, especially when it comes to maternal health care, and being misdiagnosed or having their symptoms ignored because of archaic beliefs about Black people just wanting drugs. We also know that Black men have better health outcomes when they have Black doctors. So why would somebody want to mess with that? Well, a group called Do No Harm and Dr. Travis Morrell believe that it discriminates against white people. Dr. Travis Morrell says that he meets all the criteria except for race, and that's discriminatory. So he's suing. Now, I would say that FindABlackDoctor.com, you know what? Settle the lawsuit. Say, no, you can come on our page. And why would I do that? Because all the listings look like this. People would quickly see that Dr. Morrell is white, and he's a dermatologist. So if I'm a Black man who suffers from razor bumps, I'm not going to a white dermatologist. No disrespect, but I want somebody who understands my issue and has probably suffered from it. If I'm a Black woman suffering from alopecia or other skin diseases, I want somebody who already understands my skin and how it's different from white people's skin. That's not being discriminatory. That's wanting to get the best care that you can get. And also there are issues with historical issues with Black people not trusting doctors. So we need people that look like us that make us feel comfortable. Now, I would like to know what you think about my solution of just selling the lawsuit and letting Dr. Morrell on. I do think that FindABlackDoctor.com should fight this all the way to the end. All right, y'all. Goodbye and God bless.
You know what I also wanted to say? Also, when it comes down to these doctors, it doesn't matter if you are a rich, melanated man and woman or a poor one. They don't want to believe us. If you go back and look at Serena Williams' story, she said right after she gave birth, she didn't feel right. And she kept trying to tell the doctor and nurses that was in the room that something wasn't right. She said right after she gave birth, she went numb. Her legs went numb. And she was like, I can't feel my legs. Something is wrong. I don't feel right. And do you know they didn't believe Serena Williams, tennis champ. They didn't believe her. Serena had to keep bugging the hell out of them before they even paid attention to her. She had a pulmonary embolism right after giving birth. She almost died. She almost died because a white doctor and white nurses didn't want to believe her. But if she was not persistent in telling them something is not right after she gave birth, I don't know what would have happened to her. She might not even be here. But they did not want to initially believe her. She said she couldn't believe how many times she had to beg for help. So that right there, she is a multimillionaire. And they wouldn't even believe her initially. So it just goes to show you, if it's just one of us, they are just taught and bred to believe that whatever we say, just dismiss it. Well, that is a problem. And if that's how you feel, you will never be my doctor. Mm-mm. So y'all, let's go on.
FindABlackDoctor.com is getting sued. And we knew this shit was coming. And if you've used this website, of course I have, we knew it was coming because they have made it largely in part trying to find anything that has anything to, that describes race or whatever as a factor to say, oh, well, it's not fair that white doctors, you all have basically did medical research biasly, largely in part to say that Black people do not feel the same amount of pain as a white person. That is documented, that is historical. It is not, something that was made up. It is absolutely in medical journals. It is still being taught in medical schools. There's still so many students that are saying they are still being taught this. And being someone who has experienced it, the fact of the matter is, if you're upset that you could not be a part of this, but you still, have patience, what is your issue? Now, here's the thing. Dr. Morrell, who is a dermatologist out of Colorado. Now, Colorado only has like 3 doctors listed on the FindABlackDoctor.com. But at the point that he did this or whatever, there was no dermatologist on here. And of course, his thing is saying that the reason why his application was denied was because largely in part because he's white. It's FindABlackDoctor.com because Black people are looking for Black doctors. You want to know why they have to look for Black doctors? Because largely in part, they're not listened to. You want to know how we know that we're not listened to? Hi, wasn't listened to during twice of my pregnancies with my husband before y'all try to get in my comments and act stupid. Now, here's the thing. In his little bio on his little Twitter account, he's talking about, oh, a physician's compassion, doesn't have anything to do with race. It has a lot to do with race. It has a lot to do with race because you're compassionate towards certain patients is a lot different in a lot of cases. Now, of course, I did try to go look at the reviews for him or whatever. So I couldn't really find a lot of them that were, people who had actually seen him, other than one that basically gave him 1 star or whatever. And this was like 2 years ago. So I'm going to say that, sir, and it looks like that man was white. And this was like largely in part before he launched this lawsuit. So if people who look like you are giving you 1 star, what the fuck do you think somebody that looks like me? Now, before y'all be like, oh, you got no. Because let me explain something to you. My P, lovely white lady. Love that lady down. And when I say I love that lady down, I'm talking anytime she has had to switch practices, guess who sought her out? Because she couldn't tell people where she was going. And she was always like, I know you're going to always find me. You're damn right I am. You're damn right. But she could not be my OB. Now, the fact that this lady could not be my OB, I understood that it was my job to go find someone who looked like me. Because again, when I didn't, I had issues. Now, that's not to say that there are not, good white doctors out here. But when you have been in a situation where it's a life or death situation and that person does not show you the compassion that you should be shown as a patient, largely in part because medical schools, again, teach on the basis of Black people don't have the same pain tolerance as a white person, meaning their pain tolerance is higher. Baby, my pain tolerance is not. It is not. This is where we are saying that Black people will never be alone. We'll never be lonely. Because why? There's always going to be a Dr. Morrell somewhere upset because he can't insert himself into spaces that no one is looking for you. And here's the thing. Now he's also requiring this lawsuit that they accept him onto the website. I feel like they should. And everybody's going to look at you and skip right on over your last name because the fuck? Because how your dermatologist, your shit looks ashy. But that's a whole nother situation. Your aura is ashy, you're ashy. It is what it is. We saw this with the lady that had the funding for Black businesses. We knew this stuff was coming. Like I said, we can't have anything. We can't go to the doctor and be treated fairly in a lot of cases. And now when we have something that is absolutely available so that we can find folks that, embody our same compassion and principles and just existence, that's, we can't have that either. America's not a real place. And the fact of the matter is, we should not even need it to have something like this. And instead of being an advocate to make sure that, no other person of color or no other Black person.
Like and subscribe to Mom's channel.
A white doctor, Travis Morrell, tried to join a directory, FindABlackDoctor, was not accepted and is suing them for discrimination. Black students and doctors have been excluded from medical schools, hospitals. The American Medical Association has a history of exclusion. So FindABlackDoctor is created to address the issue of a shortage of Black doctors, and this man feels like he's harmed because he can't join. The false equivalent here is dangerous. Not being able to join a directory is not the same thing as systemic exclusion from the field of medicine, which impacts health outcomes for Black people.
Y'all, a white Colorado dermatologist, Dr. Morrell here, and an anti-DEI medical group called Do No Harm are suing the creator of FindABlackDoctor, claiming the directory violates federal civil rights law by only listing Black physicians. The lawsuit was filed on May 19th in Manhattan Federal Court. Y'all, this directory is a resource that was created to help patients, particularly Black patients, find culturally competent care in a medical system that we all know has historically failed us. Do No Harm framed it as robbing doctors of advertising exposure. But what they're really doing, y'all, is using civil rights language to dismantle a tool built because of civil rights violations. This is the playbook they're using, y'all. Take the language of equity and flip it. Find a Black doctor isn't excluding any patients. It's not a hospital. It's not an ER. It's a directory built by Black people for Black people to solve a problem. And now someone is mad that they can't be listed in it. Y'all, I will continue to follow this story. I tell you, the audacity, the entitlement, and the timing. Look who's in office, y'all. It's probably going to be a lot more of this to come. But yeah, let's just stay aware. Let's share this. And hopefully they can get a great legal team, the Black Directory, to defend them on this.
There is a white doctor in Colorado who got together with some conservative attorneys, and they're suing Find Black Doctors. There's a platform where Black people can go and find Black doctors. They're suing for racial discrimination. The whole thing is gaslighting. The stuff that they tried to use to build the building blocks in order to create the equality, they're saying those steps are racist against white people. But they're not talking about the reason why that's a thing, to where that it is statistically proven that Black people going to Black doctors have better outcomes. Statistically proven that the longest trope in medical racism has been a thing since the beginning of time. And part of it back in the day was Black people don't feel pain. Black people have a higher pain tolerance. So you've seen even in practices to where Black people were misdiagnosed or not given the proper care or medicine, or certain symptoms that they've been showing has been ignored, or how Black women have a higher mortality rate in giving birth than every other demographic of women. There's a lot of things that are factually proven that Black people going to Black doctors reduces a lot of different risks. All of this has been factored and taken consideration. So that right there is the reason why we have a platform like this. And this goes to show exactly anytime that Black people start to get something, that's when it's an issue. Asians have their own database where they go to for Asian doctors. Jewish people have their own wings. They have their own hospitals that they go to. But nobody cares about that.
The Find a Black Doctor directory is being sued by a white doctor, a white dermatologist in Colorado, Dr. Travis Morrell, because he's saying that the directory is discriminatory. Oh, wow. In 2022, I had a severe reaction to the medication Lamictal. I got the rare dress syndrome. I'm talking, my eyes were yellow, my skin was jaundiced. I had a fever of 104 going into septic shock, mind you. I went to a hospital 3 times, and 3 times the same white doctor denied admitting me, telling me to take a Benadryl and take a break. Take a Benadryl and take a break when I am getting worse by the day. I had a full body rash from the top of my scalp to literally the bottom of my feet. It hurt me to walk. I had to beg to be admitted. And when I was finally admitted, they realized how sick I actually was. Do you know that same white doctor came to my bedside after I had been admitted and put on oxygen and apologized to me for not listening to me? Because, quote, he didn't know what to look for on my skin, on Black skin. He'd only seen what was in his textbooks on white skin. It wasn't enough to listen to his Black patient. It wasn't enough to check my vitals. It wasn't enough to see that clearly something was wrong. I ended up being hospitalized for over 30 days. Like I said, on oxygen. I almost died. And had that been caught sooner, it wouldn't have been that bad off. I literally almost died because of a white doctor not listening to me. And that is not the only example I can give of white doctors putting my life and my health at risk. Because Black people in this country, our health is not taken seriously, especially Black women. Black women still have the highest maternal mortality rate. So while this white doctor is complaining that he feels left out, we are busy dying. Maybe stop killing us when we go see you for help, and we'll think about coming back to you. Until then, I will continue to have all Black providers. My life will not be risked again because a white doctor refuses to listen to me. This temper tantrum this man is throwing is absolutely vile, because the fact of the matter is, if we Black people were getting the proper health care and attention when we go see these doctors, we wouldn't have to have a Find a Black Doctor directory. It wouldn't have to exist. Just like every other program that is exclusively for us. If we weren't excluded somewhere else, we wouldn't have to have them. So instead of fighting against the powers that be that put us at risk, you want to throw a temper tantrum about how you're not included in a directory? Like I said, the temper tantrum is gross.
Hello, friends and followers. Welcome to today's edition of What It Looked Like When They Snatched Back the 40 Acres and a Mule. All right, in today's news, conservative group sues Find a Black Doctor directory over discrimination. The anti-DEI group believes other non-white doctors should be included. Of course they do. Of course they do, because they believe they should be included in everything, in everywhere for everybody. But let's get into the story. From the article, a white Colorado dermatologist and a conservative medical nonprofit have sued the creator of Find a Black Doctor, arguing the directory unlawfully excludes non-Black physicians. The lawsuit, filed on May 19th in federal court in Manhattan, says the site's race-based listing policy violates federal civil rights law. The lawsuit was brought by Dr. Travis Morrell and Do No Harm, a group that opposes diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in the medical field per Black enterprise. According to the filing, the directory limits eligibility to, quote, Black physicians and dentists in active clinical practice, unquote, and denied Morrell's application because he is white. By excluding qualified doctors based solely on their skin color, Find a Black Doctor indefensibly robs some physicians of valuable advertising exposure and deprives patients of the opportunity to discover capable providers without regard to race, said in a statement from the organization. Now, there's still some more the article that I'm about to get into. Just give me a second. But let me get this straight. So the patient is looking for a Black doctor, and somehow you allege that the site is depriving them the chance of finding a not Black doctor because your not Black ass is listed on there? I don't think you understood the purpose. Or maybe you did, but you know what? Just hang on. We're gonna get through this. Continuing in the article, Find a Black Doctor describes itself as a resource for patients seeking Black doctors, part of a broader effort to improve access and trust in care for Black communities. Quote, having access to Black doctors has shown to improve health outcomes, particularly for Black men, unquote, a mission statement shared on Find a Black Doctor says. Continuing the quote, although African Americans make up approximately 13% of the US population, they are only 4% of practicing physicians, end quote. The lawsuit challenges that mission, saying the platform blocks non-Black doctors from advertising exposure and promotes, quote, racial concordance, unquote, the idea that patients may do better with doctors of the same race. It also refers to the more recent case, AAER versus Fearless Fund Management. The lawsuit against the Fearless Fund, an organization that supports Black women-owned businesses, made national headlines after the organization was accused of discrimination against other groups by the American Alliance of Equal Rights in 2023. Both parties agreed to a settlement a year later. Just another quick commentary break. So, you force us to go and see y'all. You know, not us, y'all, right? And we do that, and you treat us like shit. So we say, okay, fuck it. We gonna, go to our own. And we ain't got the Underground Railroad no more. So, we use the little wang dangs and the technology that's available. And now you spinning the block saying, no, you still got to see us. Just take your chances. Just pray on it and hope, that Jim Crow Jesus will give you a good one of us to, treat you right. Or that's how I read it. You know what? Sorry, let's see. That last part of the article. Hold on. Lastly, many supporters of the Find a Black Doctor directory say it helps patients find culturally responsive care and navigate a system where Black patients have historically faced discrimination. Critics argue that excluding doctors by race creates a new form of bias. God damn it. Do No Harm is asking the court to stop the platform's directory from considering race in its application process and to force acceptance of Morrell's application, according to the complaint. Quote, Do No Harm and Dr. Morrell seek all of the same relief, except that only Dr. Morrell seeks compensatory and punitive damages. List all of these hoes, but get this one hoe the money, is what they say. So I just be breaking it down in my head and everything, right? So, to sum and to wrap this up, this is the culmination, okay, the fruition of the long con, okay, that civil rights actually has been in this country for this entire time, in my opinion. Okay. The 40 acres and a mule that I started this video out with, if you remember, you recall, okay, was the promise of compensation on the road to equity for formerly enslaved people once they gained their freedom. They're like, hey, listen, sorry we did that shit to you. Here you go. Okay. And then that was snatched back. Like, I got you, bitch. I am firmly believing at this point, same thing with civil rights. Okay. All a game, all a scam. And the thing has been, what did they get out of it? Like, what was the point? All of our labor and compliance from the 60s until now. Because they're like, yeah, these niggas is getting a little unruly. Throw the civil rights at them, not to calm their ass down. And now they're like, yeah, we tired of playing this game. Just, fuck it, rile them back up. And here we go. Yeah, that's some wild shit. Diabolical plan. Yeah, they got some patience though. But I firmly believe we do too. Stay the course, good people. Stay the course. There's some bullshit. And I tell you what, you take the website down, baby. But we ain't walking in there to go see by none of y'all, because we very well know the game is afoot. Let me know in the comments what you think on that one, and see you in the next one.
So, FindABlackDoctor.com is being sued by Caucasians who are upset that their caucasity, privilege, and absolute fuckery cannot follow us around in our personal spaces concerning our bodies and our health. Bitch, please. Let me break it down to you. Y'all stink. We don't like y'all. We don't want to be dependent on you for our health and well-being because you have historically and consistently destroyed our health and well-being. Duh.
A white dermatologist is suing the website FindABlackDoctor.com after he says he was denied access to join the online directory. Dr. Travis Morrell and the conservative medical advocacy group Do No Harm filed a federal lawsuit May 19th claiming that the platform illegally discriminates against non-Black doctors by only allowing Black physicians and dentists to join. Dr. Morrell says he applied to be listed in December and didn't receive a response, even though he followed up via email months later. Now he argues that his application was rejected because he's white. The lawsuit alleges that the platform robs non-Black physicians of advertising exposure and promotes a false idea that patients receive better care from doctors of the same race. The founder of the platform, Dr. Dina Strawn, originally launched Find a Black Doctor in 2005 as a resource for Black people seeking culturally competent care from qualified Black physicians. It was relaunched in 2019 to help reduce racial health disparities and improve access to quality health care for Black communities. According to the website, having access to Black doctors has been shown to improve health outcomes, particularly for Black men. Critics, however, argued race-based directories violate civil rights laws. Is this a case of reverse racism or an attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion?
So a white dermatologist is suing the Find a Black Doctor directory claiming discrimination because he was excluded from being listed. When I tell you that I am physically exhausted from having to explain to willfully ignorant people that Black spaces are not about exclusion or discrimination, they're about survival and safety. When Black people seek out Black doctors or therapists or any form of care, we're thinking about ourselves. We're not thinking about you. It's not because we hate anyone. It's because the data literally keeps showing that racism in medicine is not getting any better. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say that, like, Black women, for example, in America are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. And that Black patients are constantly reporting how they are ignored or undertreated for pain, or they're just dismissed altogether. Like, how many studies do you need to show this? Directories like Find a Black Doctor exist because people are still racist, and they don't care whether we live or die. Black doctors make up, 5% of doctors in the United States? But we, as a demographic, account for 13% of the population. And the other thing is that so many of these white people filing these complaints immediately assume discrimination because that's the lens through which they've operated. But for marginalized communities, protective spaces have never been about you. It's literally about our safety. No one is trying to discriminate against white people or exclude white people when we have our spaces. White people's exclusion of us was based on stereotypes and lies. We just want safety. And honestly, if you're a white person that knows what you're doing, whether it's with black hair or black skin or whatever, black people will hype you up. We hype up people for less. But you, Dr. Travis Morrell, in what world would I come to you to deal with my melanated skin, especially after you filing this lawsuit? It's only going to make people not want to get treated by you. You could have easily done a little post and been like, hey, black people, I know you want to feel safe, but I got you. You can come see me. But instead, you chose this route. They always choose this route. Leave us alone.
In case you don't know, there's a white doctor who is suing the website FindABlackDoctor.com because he alleges discrimination. He said he went on there to sign on so he could treat black patients and was denied because he's not black and he's a white guy. He's suing the website in New York City. The issue now, I had surgery on last Tuesday, for a hip fracture. My hip wasn't fully healed, so they took out the screws that were in my hip and they had to break my thigh, because by breaking my thigh, they hoped that they would re-traumatize my legs, my bones, that would, what's it called? It would lead to a new healing. This is normal in medicine. When they got done with the surgery, they gave me 3 days worth of pain medication. 3 days. 3 days. And after the 3 days of pain medication, you know what they gave me to continue because they didn't want me to get addicted? They gave me acetaminophen 325. Do you understand what that is? That means this medication right here, the Tylenol that you get in the stores, is stronger than this. They give me 3 days worth of medication, and the medication is 5 milligrams of oxy. So they gave me 3 days worth of so every 4 hours, this is how they're going, is every 4 hours I'm going to take a pill. They give me 3 days worth of that pill, and then gave me over-the-counter medication that is weaker than what I would get in the store. This is what they think a broken leg like niggers can't feel pain. And again, there was a black woman who was pregnant who had a cyst in her stomach, who every doctor told her they would have to get rid of her pregnancy, get rid of her fertility to get rid of the cyst. She went to multiple white doctors. They said the same thing. She went to one black doctor. He said, oh, I can absolutely do this while you're pregnant and keep your pregnancy. So he kept the pregnancy, kept the fertility, and operated on the cyst and got rid of it. That's why a website like that is needed. When we go to hospital, racist white people will see an opportunity. Like, oh my God, yes, fucking niggers. Now is my time to teach you a lesson. And now this guy is suing because he is being denied the opportunity to hurt and kill black people. And what bothers me is he's in New York. I could put his name out here. I could say what this man will still sleep well every day for the next 30 days. If we decided to do something like that, they had a website set up to separate themselves, and we decided to sue one, they would kill us. What I'm trying to say is, if I lived in an ideal world, I would find that doctor and he would not live till the end of the week. But we don't live in an ideal world. We live in an American world, and it is what it is. But he is suing because he's being denied the right to hurt and kill black people. By the way, here's a news story in case you're wondering. It's an organization called Do No Harm that's suing.
Being black is such a crazy experience because you'll just be minding your business and here come people trying to ruin your day. A white Colorado doctor has teamed up with a conservative legal group to sue the online directory FindABlackDoctor for discriminating against physicians based on their race. The lawsuit accuses the website of robbing non-black physicians of advertising exposure and promoting racial concordance. Studies show that over 50% of medical professionals have false beliefs about black biology, and black women are 3 times more likely to die from maternity death. Yet somehow, when we are building up our own communities, pulling ourselves by our bootstraps, they go out of their way to bother us.
A white physician is suing a directory designed to help Black patients find Black doctors. And honestly, this lawsuit says a lot about who is still practicing medicine in this country. A Colorado physician, Dr. Travis Morrell, alongside the conservative anti-DEI organization Do No Harm, is suing the FindABlackDoctor directory. The platform was created to help Black patients connect with Black physicians and dentists in a healthcare system where racial disparities are still very real. And to be clear, this directory is not excluding anyone from receiving care. It is simply giving patients an option to see clinicians they may feel more comfortable with based on shared lived experiences, cultural understanding, or trust. And that matters more than some people want to admit. Study after study has shown that patients often have better communication, stronger trust, and sometimes even better health outcomes when they feel understood by their healthcare clinicians. This is especially important for communities that have historically been mistreated by the medical system. As a nurse, what concerns me most is not just this lawsuit, it's the mindset behind it. Because there are absolutely medical professionals in this country who genuinely believe race does not affect healthcare outcomes, patient experiences, diagnosis delays.
A conservative legal group just sued a directory called FindABlackDoctor. They used the Civil Rights Act of 1866, a law created to protect Black people after slavery, to do it. And their central argument is that racial concordance, the documented science showing that Black patients get better outcomes with Black doctors, is supposedly a debunked myth. Let's talk about every single thing wrong with that. FindABlackDoctor is an online directory funded by Dr. Dina Strawn, a board-certified dermatologist that connects patients with Black physicians and dentists. On May 19, 2026, a conservative nonprofit called Do No Harm filed a federal lawsuit against the directory, arguing that limiting listings to Black physicians violates civil rights law. Their plaintiff, Dr. Travis Morrell, a white dermatologist from Colorado, applied to the directory in December 2025 and was not accepted because he is not Black. Do No Harm says that is discrimination. Now let's talk about why that argument falls apart completely. I'm Dr. Michael H. Ford, and this is a story you need to hear. Black physicians represent less than 6% of practicing doctors in America. Despite Black people making up 13% of the population, that gap did not happen by accident. For decades, Black physicians were excluded from hospitals, denied admitting privileges, and shut out of professional advancement because the American Medical Association allowed its state and local medical societies to bar Black physicians from membership until 1968. Black doctors had to build their own medical associations, they had to build their own hospitals, and they had to build their own networks from scratch. The FindABlackDoctor website is a direct descendant of that history. Now, Do No Harm calls racial concordance a pernicious and debunked myth. Here is what science actually says. A 2022 National Bureau of Economic Research study found that increasing the share of Black providers led to a 15% decline in Black patient mortality. A Stanford University randomized clinical trial among 1,300 Black men in Oakland found that Black men assigned to Black doctors increased their uptake of diabetes screenings by 47% and cholesterol screenings by 72%, and that Black doctors could reduce the Black-white gap in cardiovascular mortality by 19%. Stanford and the National Bureau of Economic Research called it science. They used a law written to protect freed slaves to sue a directory created to correct centuries of medical exclusion. FindABlackDoctor is not discrimination. It is documentation of what happens when a system fails a community for generations. Less than 6% is not equity. It is evidence, and no lawsuit changes that. Healing starts with knowing. Follow for more.